What we tried to do with 2.0 compared to 1.0 is basically do our best to improve users' ability to figure out how their devices are sending data, like which integrations are connected to which devices, which functions are being piped through for each device. We try to make that as easy as possible to understand from one single look. And we also added the ability to skip the label mechanism for sending and just send from a basic device to a basic integration. So I'll show you what I mean. So we have and this is all on the staging environment of console, by the way. So for example, here's what we have, right? So this is the new flows page. We have 4 different sets of nodes that you can drag onto the workspace. So we got labels. Everyone should be very familiar with what they are. They're a grouping mechanism for a set of devices, right? So now we also have the ability to simply drag a device onto the workspace, which wasn't possible before. And that was kind of cumbersome to work with for a new user to console because they had to make sure that the device and the integration and the function were placed under the same label, which sometimes, for a first-time user is more complicated than it needs to be. So what our designer wanted to do is, for example, I just created this device. I drag it onto the workspace. I have an integration here. I drag that onto the workspace. Oh, but it already existed here. And so the only thing you need to do then is simply connect the two and hit save changes, and the underlying device should begin to send packets to the integration there. So that's as easy as we thought it could be. You drag 2 nodes onto the canvas, you connect them, and there you go. And other than that, we just tried to make certain things more improved, such as like showing you what label settings you have activated. For example, this label currently has these alerts set. The ADR settings are here, and those icons are reflected on the label itself. So if you turn off ADR, that icon goes away. Turn it back on, it shows back up. If you want to enable multi-packet purchasing on your label, you can turn that on, turn that off. You'll notice the icon goes away. And those same settings can be placed onto the device as well. So you can turn on ADR, the icon comes up, and turn it off, and there it goes. So that is the key improvement that we tried to make for console 2.0, is providing you this flows workspace where you can do the majority of the data connections on one page and have a much better mind map of where your data is going on the platform.
And so, Victor, at this point, if I were to go into the CB device, then this mapping will actually be shown on that device page, correct?
Yes. So save that. So I can go here, and you'll notice that CB device has been connected directly to request bin. It's been connected through a label that I have to the same integration. This is all obviously fake connections. You wouldn't really want to do this in your deployment environments, but as you can see, this is what is reflected from the flows page.
Very cool.
Yeah, and everything else we tried to essentially leave as the same. You'll notice that, for example, the device page seems very familiar, but if you go to like the device index page, if I wanted to add a device, you can just type new device, right? Save, and there it is. And if you wanted to add that to a label, you just go here, add this label to device. So a lot of the interactions are still the same. What the designer wanted to do also is to show the fact that like everything is a node. For example, when you create a new label here, this new label icon also shows up at the top right to suggest to the user that a new node has been created. And so in this flows section, you can drag the new label onto the workspace. And that's the same case for For functions, where you create a new one, it'll show up here. Integrations, alerts, ADR. That's the design UI here. Before, you had to put a device into a label for it to start sending. In the new state, you don't have to do that. You can drag a device right onto the workspace and get it to send, and thus you need some way of turning on ADR for that selectively just for that device, right? So
Okay, I gotcha.
There's two options there.
And so on flows, when you are adding in the upper left, I can add a device or a label. And if the label is assigned to a device, is that effectively the same if I just put the label down and tie that into an integration? Okay.
Yes, it's essentially the same thing.
Gotcha. All right.
It just allows you to, really the key thing there is just you don't have to put device into a label. For a new user, it's a little more involved to do that. So you drag a device down, you drag an integration down, you connect them, and you're done.
Very cool, man.
If I add some devices in the old way, is it automatically showing up down in the flows? Like, are they always staying in sync, or do you have to build the flows to reflect what's already set up in the old way?
So what we did for so if you're migrating from 1.0 to 2.0, right, you're asking if your existing label connections will stay the same, right?
No, I guess I'm asking, will I get that nice diagram in the flow view? Will it auto build for me based on the labels and integrations I already have set up?
Yeah. So that was a key concern, to make sure that our users don't experience interruption during this migration phase. So for example, you have a label that has two devices that's already sending to an integration, right?
Yeah.
Say that's the case. When we hit the migrate button and everything processes, on the flows page, you will see exactly that label connected to an integration with the link with this little thing already pre-linked. And you'll notice that there's two devices under that label. So nothing changes. All it is the UI changes and some of the database architecture changes, but the functionality of how that data will be sent does not change.
Is the plan for the old way to eventually be turned off and go away, and it's just the flow?
It'll be completely migrated to. We want you to be using flows because it's much more intuitive to be dragging these connections, and and you can shift these around, like oh, I like all my devices to be up here, and then I put my labels in the second column. You can arrange it however you want, and when you hit save, your arrangement will always stay on screen in the same way. So I think that adds a level of, like, it makes it completely visual to you, versus in 1.0 you had to remember what labels you put your devices in and what settings were on those labels. And you had to click through multiple pages to see that. This way, you'll notice, oh, this label has these three settings activated. And you see all of that at a glance, and you don't have to do as much memorization.
A blue box with the word request. What does request represent?
That's the name of the label.
The name of the label. Okay. Okay.
I named it badly. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you.
And so right now, Console 2.0 is available on our staging console, and this is open to the public, right? Anyone can jump in and kind of help test through on this and give us feedback.
Yes, exactly. It's just this link right here. Staging-console.helium.wtf.
Excellent. And one thing though, if someone has been using production server and they have devices on it and they want to check out the new Console 2.0, and they only have these devices and they want to, I guess, move over, they can't be running the devices on both consoles, right? I mean, production and staging. What
we typically do not recommend is you using the exact same device credentials across more than one environment of the Helium console. So like the trio of device UI, app UI, and app key, you don't want to use that trio on different environments of Helium console. The funny thing is there's an exception here, because with prod, the prod is a catch-all. Essentially, it's kind of complicated, but I definitely do not recommend it. But if you do want to put it on staging, I think it should work. But there might be some weird situations where it won't work. So I think the best case is just write down your device credentials, delete them off of prod, and put them on staging if you want to do the test.
Or just use a completely different set of keys and reflash your device. Depending upon which console you're on. Very, very cool. So what's this in the lower right?
Yeah, it's basically a quick. It's a UI button that shows up on every single page, where all it allows you to do is like quickly go to the page where you need to add a certain resource. Like I need to add a function right now because I just remember I need to add a function. That's, there you go. You enter your the attributes and then hit save. Or actually, I actually needed to add an integration. So then you just use the button. It's just a quick navigation button for that.
Very cool. Well, hey, if anyone has any questions, now's the time while we have Victor here with us. He's the man you want to ask if you have any questions on the new console 2.0. This is cool, man. I really do like this. Very nice.
Love the new flows. It's really like user intuitive. I set up a device like really quickly, and on the production console, having 2 pages of various devices, it gets very complex with all the various labels and the functions and everything. So flows in this version is like a lot better, in my opinion. I have one quick question. Has anything changed with the debug part of things, or is it just mainly changes with the UI?
Yeah, so the debug, let me confirm 100%. So the debug can be done here on the individual device page, just like before, as well as on the label page, just like before. But also on the flows page, I believe I made that change too. Yeah, there we go. The debug panel.
Oh, sweet. That's pretty cool.
So it's just added to the flows page as well.
Cool.
And functionality has not changed.
And for people who haven't spent a lot of time on the debug console, it's really grown up over the past I guess month or a couple months, as far as the way that everything's kind of broken apart within the debug console as payloads are coming through. And so you can see kind of what's a request, what's a response, what's failing. And even on your main devices page, or when you go into a device, you can see if an integration fails. You have these little icons that are going to kind of let you know, hey, something's wrong here, to help you kind of, zero in on any type of errors that you're getting. If you have like multiple integrations, it helps you kind of pinpoint what's going wrong there. So
I used that when I was switching to the new mapper. Something wasn't right, and that was very handy to know that something wasn't right. Has a date been considered for when console 2.0 might go to production?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to have a meeting about that tomorrow to have a check-in with my PM. I believe it should be, I think the target was in 2 weeks. I don't think it should be longer than that, but maybe 4 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so it's soon. It's soon. It's not far away.
We're trying to get this out, and then we can make other improvements. Like, so if you wanted to test on our staging environment right now, you're definitely welcome. And any improvements that you would like to see, as you all know, GitHub console repo is open source, and under the issues section, other testers have submitted improvements that they would like to see, submitted bug tickets. So if that's something that interests you, feel free to do that. But yeah, once 2.0 gets migrated to prod, we can divert our full attention to making 2.0 even better than what you see now. Right now, there's 1.0 has to be maintained, and 2.0 has to be maintained. So we're kind of doing double duty, and we can't focus all of our effort on improving this product right now.
Well, this is looking absolutely fantastic, man. This is looking great. It's come a long way. I mean, this is gorgeous. And please, Victor, send our thanks to the rest of your team. Who's working on console with you, and make sure to thank them for all of this hard work, and let them know it looks amazing.
Yep, we'll do. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing today, and coming to the call. Thanks a lot.
Of course, thank you for taking the time to.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Victor.
Good.
It really looks great.
Thank you. All right, have a good one, guys.
I was going to say, quick question.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
anyone run console? Like, if they want to run their own root, like router and console, I guess they can go off and.
Yeah. So if you go to the console repo, you just kind of follow the instructions here, all the way
Awesome.
down through running console with Docker on a server. So yeah, running console with Docker and running it with a server. So you basically need all of those steps.
Awesome, because I know that certain organizations, especially in the EU, like to keep their data, their own data, you know. So
yeah, we have a guy that's I think he's from France. I think he's running console IoT.eu or something like that.
Paul, this 91, yeah.
Oh yeah. So he's following these instructions, and sometimes he brings up bugs that I personally can't think of. So that's very helpful as well. Yeah. So yeah, anyone is welcome to do this.
thank you.
Sure.
No, that stole my thunder. I was going to give a demo on the new console. So I guess we could still do that if folks want to see a device onboarded. But I think we can get all the
please
points
do.
there.
Please, Joey, I'd love to see it personally. And Victor, thank you very much for dropping in. Feel free to stick around. It's always nice to have Helium folks over here on the call.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
I really appreciate you coming by today.
Thanks, Trev. Bye.
Cool. So now we get to put our new skills to the test, I guess. I was thinking to do this basically all just from the flows view, and this will be fairly new for me as well. But I have a mapper that I've previously offboarded from production console. And so I was going to drop in a new device. And so I've actually saved all of my keys. I'm just going to call this a mapper. So this is one of my TTGO T-beams. And so I've already flashed all the firmware. I've given it its own set of keys.
So you are using the same keys that were on production. You just removed it from that side, right?
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see how well this works. And so I'm just copying and pasting from my notes there. So I already know these are set to the device. So I'm going to go ahead and save my device. It's cool hearing that we don't need labels anymore. I'm going to go ahead and try and do that without this. Labels are really useful for like a ton of devices, but it's usually not what is going on here. So now I should have a device. Boom. So we can throw that in there. So I know there's going to be two more parts that I need. So I have my device. I'm going to need a function to interpret the data from that device. And then I'm going to need my integration to send the stuff off to mappers. So I'm going to go ahead and do my function next. So we can go ahead and cancel. I'll save my changes first. It would be kind of cool if this happened like right inside this view, so you just literally never like had to leave. Let's go ahead and add my function. So I'm going to call this true. It's going to be a decoder, and it's going to be custom script. And I've got that.
And while we're here, there is a repo. I just want to kind of jump in and say that over on GitHub, github.com, helium, console-decoders. This is where you can find a lot of decoders for different manufacturers of sensors that you can just copy and paste over into the Helium console.
Yeah, it looks like they included it right here for you, which is
Isn't
awesome.
that cool?
Shortcut.
I know,
yeah.
I know. That made me have the biggest smile when the first time I saw that. I'm like, oh man.
You didn't call for that one? That's a they threw you a bone there. That's great.
Not me,
yeah, this is
not me.
Super helpful. It's also a really great way to learn how these decoders work. It's just like digging through and understanding how these different devices interpret data. But cool, this is in. I don't have a example payload. I've already tested this one, so I know it works, but this script validator is super helpful because I can drop the hexadecimal payload of my device in here. and then run it against this code, and it'll show me what that output will actually look like. It's a huge time saver. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and save. And then let's just jump back into flows. I want to keep mapping this stuff out. So I should be able to stick those together. I'm going to save that change. And then this last step here, we're just going to go to the mappers API. This is in the Helium dev docs. This is the thing that I'm looking for right here. All of this other stuff is already configured as part of my function. And so I'm going to go add in integration. We're just going to do a plain HTTP integration. The endpoint URL there. And that's going to be. This is still in a funny spot, isn't it? Add integration. Cool. So my mappers integration is made. Should be able to go back into flows. And we're going to pipe that through into there. Changes. Now in here, should be able to enter this debug mode. Although this is supposedly takes about 10 minutes right now, right?
Right, it can. And so, if you're not seeing data immediately, I mean, you might want to go ahead and reset the map, or, like bounce the device. But
yep.
This may actually take a little bit of time to actually, get on the chip. So,
yeah, this.
What will take time? Like for the first data to flow once it's been set up? Is that what you're saying? It might take about 10 minutes before it starts showing up.
Now 10 minutes may be fuzzy. So
yeah, this gets into what Vic was saying about production console being the catch-all. So that means basically like these devices, they register themselves with the blockchain and sort of say like, this is where you should send my data to which router. Production router is that catch-all, so it tends to be really quick. But for anything that's not production router, you have to sort of chatter that around a little bit.
So don't freak out if it's not working initially. Just give it a little bit
about 15 minutes on mine. And
yeah.
Okay. Well, let's pause here. So I'll stop screen sharing, and then I'll watch this. And then when stuff shows up, I'll jump right in. We can look at it.
Perfect. And just keep your debug console up if you don't mind, so we can catch the the first things that come through on that.
Good call. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Joey. Very cool.
Yeah, it's super smooth. I'm really happy with how it's shaped up.
No, that was slick. And so if anyone's wondering, I mean, that's not just for mappers. I mean, that's pretty much the procedure for onboarding any sensor that you want to, onto the people's network, to get your data flow going through. And I guess the next step, if you wanted to, for example, have a dashboard rather than mappers, if you just have like a temperature sensor, for example, you could use any of those integrations that we had seen on that screen when Joey went to HTTP. If you want to go Ubidots or AWS or Tago.io, Adafruit.io, any of these native integrations.
So I found like for someone for a very, 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 very first time, the My Cayenne is very easy because like once you hook it up, if they recognize the device, they have a nice dashboard there and everything, and you can just start seeing things. It's very easy.
Sure. Yeah.
For the first time.
Absolutely.
I was testing the Helium Console 2, and this morning I was migrating my mapper to the B2 tool. So I have some flows running at this moment, so I can share my screen to take a look at how that works.
Yes, please do. There we go.
Are you okay? So the first thing that I did, it was the same as you showed us before, with a device, a decoder for the mapper, and the integration to the mappers B2. I already have running one device which is sending data frequently. This is the WISBlock mapper from the Wendell's repo, and I migrated to our new GPS module on the Wiz block. Not only the first one, it supports now the second one. So this is the book view, so I can see what values are sending this mapper. And in the Helium mappers, if I go to my my location, I can see only 1 point because at this moment is no point. But I started to color again this region because it was delayed with the migration, because the last time I ran a mapper, it was with a light hotspot. So now I have a minor. So
Nice.
this is our real mapping.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry those couldn't come through.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
It's fun to do it over again anyways.
Okay, now that I'm sharing my screen, this is how it looks when you have many more integrations. So I have, for example, other devices, and at this moment, other Wiz blocks sending data from the environment and weather. If I go to UIDOTS at this moment, I can see this one transmitting humidity, pressure, gas, and temperature. And
Very cool.
is all this. If I can add a dashboard too, but the data is already there. It's not only in the console side.
Oh, if I can interject, my device just onboarded, so I'll share those first packets coming through, and then I want to come back. We can look at your integration some more.
Okay, I will stop my screen sharing. That's what I want to share with you today.
No, that's great. And as far as the UbiDots integration, once you have your token over from UbiDots over onto the Helium integration within the console, it automatically is going to create all of those devices for you on the UbiDots end, right?
Yeah, it creates automatically all the devices, and the label is the same ID that it uses in console.
Right. So it makes it very easy to get your data over into an UbiDots dashboard. Very cool. So Joey, yeah, this is you. This is just up and going, huh?
It's flying, yeah. And
Nice.
Look at that. It's just one that actually onboarded really smoothly.
Immediately. Oh, so nice.
Yeah, which has me excited because there's been some hiccups there. But
actually, can we point out this this icon right there next to uplink?
this guy?
Yeah, can we kind of show what that means? So you mouse over and it says that it was an integration error. If you mouse over this, that icon, yeah, so integration response error. And so, yeah, you see, you open up the tab on integration messages and we see that we have a response error on mappers. And yeah, so especially if you have a lot of integrations, and yeah, and then you just, you know, sync that over to, you know, over on the right, and you can see exactly where that error comes through. Right? So.
Yeah, so that was frame count 1. Let's see, what's the easy way to find that? These are join request, join request, join request, join accept, uplink. And that was, I think, the one with our error in it. This is not my integration response, though. Let's see.
I also want to call attention to that decoded payload on that integration. Right there. Yeah. So that's a 200.
Yeah. I guess I was trying to understand what my error was there.
Yeah, I got you.
That's a success.
Yeah.
It can be a little difficult to find some stuff.
There you
sometimes.
go. There's your error. No, go up.
Oh, you found it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, invalid device latitude or longitude. So it probably sent a 00 or something like that in that first packet.
So you're going to Null Island? Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Which I'll want to check out the firmware for that because it shouldn't be sending that at all for my device. But
Well, hey,
that's a little
good thing we have
surprising.
those icons there now.
Yeah, so yeah, when you see this, it's a good reason. You
Yeah.
know, if your mappers isn't working or something like that, digging in a little bit and opening this debug panel is a really quick way to start understanding what's actually happening.
And another cool thing, if you go to the little dot, dot, dot on the upper right of any one of these, what you can do at this point is, boom, it makes it so easy just to copy this payload out or save it down to a file.
Yep. And then go dump it in Discord, and then it fills the whole page, but we can help you try to figure out what's going on. Yeah,
exactly. Another cool thing, if you look at this little icon next to like the one right there that looks like a gear, what this indicates, if you, with that open, if you can close the debug now, I guess. So because we need to go over to the right on this, but if we open up, yeah, and then we go to map commands, and so you have your own tab here that's indicated, or the presence is indicated by that little gear icon next to your frame counter.
Mm-hmm. And this would come into play, like if you had ADR on, right? You'd see these sort of interspersed as the router was trying to adjust your device.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of little things that have kind of snuck their way in on console that I don't know if everyone has really, you know, taken the time to kind of dig through this, unless you hit a problem, you know, and then you probably spent more time in here than you like. But no, this is gorgeous, man.
Very cool. But 100% making its way through there. It's always fun seeing. So packets are chosen by their first responder. I haven't turned on the unlimited packet purchasing, which that might be a fun thing to do.
Can you walk us through that? Can you kind of show? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, let's see if we can do it from flows. So we have this. I want packets. Oh, packets. Oh, I want. How does that work? Oh, this is packets. So we're going to add new multiple packet config. Oh, it's like it's a thing. Let's do that. And I like to do unlimited. Just
and understand what this means when you say unlimited. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's anyone that hears me. So yeah, you can burn through some data credits pretty quickly.
And you are in San Francisco right now, right? So
yes, yeah. So it should hit a lot.
Yeah.
And now if I go, can I add that as part of flows? It's not in there. Oh, so it's here. It's I've created a configuration, and I should be able to turn that on. And now if I go back into edit mode, again, I don't know if this is an instantaneous. Oh, it's an instantaneous, James. Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
And are we? Yeah, so we're still getting some link. So some of these are responding a little slow, so we're still not getting them. But this is a lot more than I'm used to in production.
And so when you open this up, what it's going to show us here under hotspots, we're going to see everyone and the name of everyone that heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this thing's just like laying down. It's like laying down on my desk. I'm not even trying right now. This is this is exciting.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rush to add my mapper in now.
And so the cool thing, just to make a plug for mappers again, is with multiple packet purchasing, you can start to get this richer data where it will show you for a given hex all of the hotspots that heard that packet that's going out. So you can get this sort of in-depth analysis of the network in that area. And the most I've seen, I think, is like 89 packets from one spot. I think it's this hike that I do. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's covering most of the Bay Area. So if somebody finds a hex with 100 hotspots in it, let me know, because I have not found that one yet.
Wow. That's pretty cool, Joey.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, this is exciting.
I like the color change actually as well in mappers that's recently happened.
Oh, I'm
For the
glad to hear. I
hotspots.
didn't even call that out as an update because it was just a color change, but that changed yesterday.
Yeah, I
Based on
noticed it and
some
I
feedback.
like it.
Now, does that accommodate what for colorblindness?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
colorblind, so.
Okay,
Oh,
excellent.
good. A real color. So I ran some simulations. It's the best I can do, and this stood out pretty well. But yeah, always like if there's something that's a little weird or it's like low contrast is too low, let me know. So previously, the hexagons that held a hotspot in them were this sort of light gray. They were very, very light before, and so we've sort of bumped this
Yeah,
up a little bit,
I
makes
can
it
see them that
easier.
well. Yeah.
It helps, like when you're out driving around, something like that, like you can say, like,
Yeah.
well, there should be a hotspot here, so I can keep driving around this hexagon or something, hoping to get a device through.
I have a
Cool.
question.
Yeah,
Joy.
it's coming together. Go for it.
Hey, Joy. It's Winston. My Adonis, I want to do the switch over to 2.0. I should go into my old console, copy all the information, correct? And does that include the integration and also the
Yeah, you're gonna have to treat it as a completely separate console, and so and you're gonna have to actually remove those devices from production. And so you want to back all of your keys and your EUIs up over there.
But to clarify, this might be part of the question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you do not have to use the staging console in order to use Mappers V2.
all right. I'll try it. I'll work on it. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, well, ping us if you have questions. We, you know,
Okay.
I was on a call with somebody this morning just trying to figure out the details with them.
Okay. It was pretty informative what you did earlier, so I'm going to try to follow those steps and hopefully I'll get it.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm new to this, so please bear with me. Thanks.
And the,
we all were
the
at
Mappers
some
channel.
point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the Mappers channel on Discord is the place to catch. I know you can catch Joey and a lot of other folks that are involved with mapping over there.
Okay. Sure. Thanks.